So first and foremost, I want to clarify that when doing research for this topic, I ran through the YouTube Inspiration tab in YouTube Studio, and AI suggested the standard SmartSchoolBoy9's most recent video, which, you know, makes sense, but then it recommends stuff like SmartSchoolBoy9's Rise to Fame and the Rise of SmartSchoolBoy9, a YouTube success story. Like no AI, this is a creepy bad man. He is being mocked everywhere, AI. He is not a success story. Like, I don't have to fear AI will overtake my job as an artist when I think SmartSchoolBoy9 is living a lavish lifestyle in the limelight. Like, oh yeah, I want the video. I just thought this was hilarious. So if you've been on the internet at all recently, you most likely heard that the flavor of the month is SmartSchoolBoy9, which, context, he's an adult who's really creepy and off-putting, and we're going to go in depth about what he's been doing and going into the aftermath of the initial video calling him out by Nick Crawley, which includes him being found, his alleged house being vandalized, and his alleged real name getting leaked. Now, a lot of this is alleged, which I want to clarify, and I also want to clarify that while I am making jokes within this video about the absurdity of everything, please not try and contact this man or anyone involved. So, the internet first discovered SmartSchoolBoy9 via a Reddit post. Oh joyous, what an amazing place. At least it's better than Twitter or X or whatever. Still, nothing tops Newgrounds, in which a Redditor detailed finding Instagram accounts that pretend to be children, like LARPing as actual children. Oh yeah, by the way, it's LARPing because he dresses up like an actual child. We're going to be doing a deep dive into the rabbit hole that is SmartSchoolBoy9, including a glimpse at his initial aspects of depravity, a glossary of his art and music, his response to being dragged in the spotlight of the entire internet, which, pause, imagine millions of people knowing how much of a creep you are, and some reactionary responses, such as the alleged interview, and a lot of the flurry of everyone, for some reason, wanting to be a touchstone in his story. So, there are many names floating around claiming to be his, with the last name fluctuating slightly, and so I can stop saying SmartSchoolBoy9 every time I refer to this individual, I'm soon going to call him David, as that is the universally accepted first name of SmartSchoolBoy9, and we have a lot to dissect when it comes to David, so make yourself some popcorn, brew some tea or coffee if that's your thing, and settle in, because it's going to be a fun ride. So the first place to examine is the Instagram itself. However, his account is now deleted, but it was heavily archived. And also, it's worth mentioning that people believe he actually ran a multitude of accounts that all weirdly interacted with each other. The main one being SmartSchoolBoy9, but there were others that essentially played different characters within this weird, creepy universe. Another oddity to note is that a lot of the posts and accounts were referring to being looked after by a parent, either to A, circumvent Instagram's rules because most of them claim to be like 10, B, as some speculate, to build trust with other children or the parent monitoring their children's accounts, or C, feeding into the fantasy laid out. The more you look into the content, the more obvious it is this is a full-grown man. I mean, look at this guy and tell me that's a child. And if you can say with honesty that you believe this is a child, I will be extremely concerned for the chemical waste dumping in your town's water supply, because the only way that could be a child is with severe radiation and mutation. In almost every post that shows him, David can be seen wearing a schoolboy uniform and white face paint. It's believed that this is a fetish or severe psychosis. Well, that or he's a big AC/DC and Kiss fan and just working on a tight budget. His tongue is always sticking out, and he constantly talks about stylish high heel mini boots. Which, like, real talk, he brings it up constantly. Like, he constantly mentions them in the same way, always stylish high heel mini boots. It's clearly a fetish of his, with, on its own, being whatever. I'm sure lots of people in the high heel shoes, whatever. But the disgusting part is the fact he's pretending to be a child, and also edits photos of children to be wearing them, which is absolutely disgusting and vile. Every post he makes is from the perspective of what he thinks a child is like, which there isn't nearly enough talk of vaping, Fortnite in Prime, or Skibidi, or whatever for it to be convincing, but it's also extremely unsettling. Like, I've seen my fair share of weird people, but David genuinely skeeves me out. He makes posts of himself being supposedly in classrooms or buses, which also no kid would post that. Like, when I was actually 10, you know what I posted? Clips of animation from StickPage and crappy drawings of myself as a robot samurai. And it's unclear where he obtains a lot of the footage from, and the most terrifying is a video of him chasing a child, which also makes the point to mention he's wearing mini boots again. Now, I've made a lot of jokes, but this one genuinely is seriously concerning. Looking at a lot of his art in other videos, he clearly is able to get assets and clips from the internet. as people believe that the inside of the classroom videos or the bus videos to be taken from the internet and then edited a gross amount. And I genuinely hope and pray that this video was also taken from the internet, as it was genuinely unsettling to watch and made me anxious and uncomfortable to view. It's believed and hoped that it was just a video he had taken off the internet and edited over, as the rest of the video resembles a YouTube poop in visual editing. It's not hard to believe that he just did that, but regardless, it's incredibly concerning that a grown man would ever want to pretend to be chasing a child like that. The only creepy British guy that lives in his delusions and acts like a child that we like around here is Salad Fingers. Oh yeah, the guy who made Salad Fingers got dragged into this. More on that later, but I will preface, please leave the guy alone. Stop bothering him. He has nothing to actually do with this, just please leave him alone. One of the reasons people believe the videos that don't directly show him are taken from the internet are because it excludes his iconic mannerisms. So you know how people dissect those videos of Walter White or Bryan Cranston's much more badass role, Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, and discuss his subtle body language as implying his inner workings or being representative of the overall arc of the story? Yeah, this guy just does this thing. I'm sorry you guys had to see that, but he constantly sticks his tongue out and often blows raspberries into the camera. People are unsure why he does this, but there are a plethora of theories. One of which being to look like a porcelain doll, some other grosser type of doll, or even a corpse. Oh my god guys, he's literally Jack Nicholson in Longlegs, like the white face paint, the weird noises, trying to befriend children. Guys, life imitates art, holy sh**. As for the videos themselves, they're heavily edited and content-wise, they're essentially cookie-cutter. Like, if you've seen one, you've practically seen them all. And frankly, the fact that he keeps making the same kind of video over and over is only more unsettling. Like, me personally with art and music, if I had to make the same thing more than 3 times in a row, I'd go insane. But this guy just makes dozens of videos, all terrifyingly creepy. They're unintentionally creepy, obviously, but that's what makes them more terrifying. It's akin to how Blair Witch is so scary because the footage seems so real. Like, if I walk into a theater and see a horror movie, I'm not going to wet the bed at night because I think Jason is going to decapitate me. But if I see this guy, a real human being, is out there in the world, and seeing it on Instagram and Reddit, it's absolutely bone-chilling. The weirdest and most common videos are him arriving home from school, which, first off, Buster, you haven't been to school in 40 years. Second off, it's always weird because he counts his steps to the door, showing off his lunchbox and satchel bag. Actually, wait here, guys. It reminded me of Marching Band, the way he was counting his steps. But in reality, I think they're supposed to either mimic a child learning to count, which, if he's going for the age of 10 to 12, it's incredibly far off. Or a child who repeats the same obnoxious rhymes like Nightmare on Elm Street or those little girls who won't shut the hell up, you know, the 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, blah, blah. Or in Malcolm in the Middle, where Dewey just keeps singing A, B, C, D. Oh hey, that's 2 Malcolm in the Middle references in one video. If I get to 3, your next video essay is free. Another weird aspect of the video editing is the odd competency of them. Like, my mother, loved her to death, is 60 and could not for the life of her be able to edit a video to the degree this guy does, but with all the tutorials on YouTube, it's not impossible for him to have been able to learn, but still a footnote worth noting. Also, he edits like MLG if you replace Snoop Dogg and the Illuminati Doritos with random gift stickers and weird light filters, and the air horns which honestly makes people prefer the air horns. You guys remember those prank YouTubers, and you'd always ask yourself, how do they have no shame to go outside and blow air horns in people's face, or pants them, or just yell something cringy in public? Well, there's also a handful of videos of SmartSchoolBoy9 venturing outside in his outfit of choice, which holy crap, the confidence it would take. You could not pay me to walk outside dressed like that. Even for a video, I don't know if I would do that. To wrap up the section dedicated purely to videos, there's also this one where he was allegedly, stroking the salmon, punching the pepper, verbing the noun, you know, Dark Side Phil style, but with the intention of the camera being on and not just accidentally turned on for a live stream, as he also just, uploaded it. But you can't see anything below his chest as he's only showing the mirror. Sorry to interject myself here, but if you could leave a like and subscribe, I would really appreciate it. I had a lot of fun working on this video, but it was a lot of hard work, so I'd really appreciate if you left a like and subscribed. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video now. Enjoy! As previously mentioned, he has several other accounts that all act as their own characters and for some reason message and interact with each other, some of which he even cosplays for, such as Stephanie. We're gonna just gloss over these as they're all a dime a dozen, frankly, and look more at the Truth611. Truth611 is his arts account, of which I will blur the faces of real children, because he often uses photos of real children, or AI photos of children for these collages. The editing style is horrifying, and can best be described as digital collage. As some of the other accounts display physical collages, it's probably safe to say that that's what the inspiration comes from. I'm not going to show the ones that are just actual children, and it is believed that some of the children, who are now adults, he used for the collages have been found, which any of these allegations, or confirmations even, of these subjects used for these should be ignored. It doesn't matter. Like, real talk, it's aggravating. What good would informing these people do? If I got contacted randomly with, hey, you know that creepy dude everyone mind's talking about? Turns out he photoshopped a photo of 12-year-old you in the high heels and a creepy-ass smile. I would be so uncomfortable. Like, please, just leave the people alone. For anyone involved in this, even the creepy guy, just leave everybody alone. At best, they're in blissful ignorance. At worst, they've already been made aware and don't want some stranger reminding them. The pictures progressively and quickly devolve from using real photos of children and seemingly anchored in reality to quickly just being these AI abominations, which looks like a cross between Core and See You on the Other Side, and the super machines steal this record. I mean, with the pale skin and giant forehead, it looks like Beavis and Butthead mixed with Frambo. Alright, enough jokes about the job security I have with the incompetence of AI art. The art posted to Truthsticks 11, or was, considering all of David's Instagrams went nuclear after Nick Crowley's video. Well, not immediately after Nick Crowley's video, but rather after some rather intense backlash, to say the least. Disturbing nonetheless. They show the subjects at contorted and broken angles, looking more like a Gmod ragdoll than something supposed to be a human being. There's also this weird UI, not UI, but you know what I mean, like some graphic layout around some of them, and are just written so weirdly, like they're trying to act more like a lesson guide for kids rather than an actual post by kids, which once again, I cannot imagine anyone under the age of 40 posting any of this. And while I haven't been 10 for over a decade, I imagine that he's even further off than that given the 10-year gap. This post, for example. Clever keys to maintaining proper focus at school. Oh great, as someone with intense and unmedicated ADHD, I'm sure these tips and tricks will totally help me. Be optimistic about achievements so far. Alright, nothing prompted that, but yeah, sure, that's good optimism, I guess. Don't ever be put off. If you're told you never do well in a particular subject, other children, you get paused because him saying other children implies that the audience is children, which is gross for a grown adult to be trying to interact with, may tell you that as a joke, but the truth is, you can overtake and outshine them. The key is, don't let the little bit they think they know about you be all that you show. Don't become their limited version of you. Look to where you've already proven them wrong. Oh, awesome. So instead of helping me focus, you've just taught me spite. Is that the lesson? To show everyone else you're better than them because you can easily surpass them and they're below you? Also, that last part just reads weird on its own. Like, I don't know about what Yellow Man would say, but you look like you're about to tell your friends not to come to school tomorrow, man. Also, what is it how out of touch this guy is? Like, he describes bullying as like, ha, you better math! Oh wait, crap, he's British. Ho ho, you better maths with an S. Like, when I was in public education, the other kids didn't say, ha, nice midterm, you only got a 97. I got a 98, nerd. They just called me a which, I mean, they were right, but, you know, they didn't know that. Like, what's the brain rot stuff now? Like imagine if the post just said, now the other kids may say you have L-Riz, but you need to show all these Ohio Rizzlers that you got more skip teeth than they could ever Fortnite Battle Royale. And they're all sussy imposters who will never be the grind set that you are. That hurt to type, and honestly, I'm sure it'll be much more to my chagrin when I actually have to read it. And this is, you know, recording me so I can say yes. Yes, it was. Oh, also he comments on other kids, like real children, not just his sock puppet accounts. He uses to upvote his opinion, so he looks like he can be a viable candidate for Reddit Gold. Here's one of the comments he left on an actual child's account. You have some cool shirt. I'm gonna read his voice by the way, just so it's not me speaking, so yeah, sorry. You have some cool shirts, but I have to wear my school uniform to school. It's nice, but casual isn't allowed, and it's quite hot here in the UK in the month of June. Suddenly it got warmer, which first off, it didn't suddenly get warmer, it's June. That's always been a hot month, and it's the middle of summer. It wouldn't randomly get hot one day. Unlike Don Quixote, but instead of the windmills, I'm charging at the logical relapses in this guy's posts. So focusing on the actual issue of this man is interacting with real life children, like actual kids, And we can only hope that his advances were quickly seen by responsible adults and were promptly blocked and shot down like the Polar 3. Now, this does open up the argument of restrictions on the internet. I'm not gonna lie, I was online at a super young age, given there was either browse Newgrounds or play Facebook Angry Bird games, but I didn't actually have a public social media. But ultimately, it's up to the parents of these children to actually monitor what their kids are up to and teach their kids to be safe online. Well, the specific case of the guy being creepy certainly has been sensationalized. A genuine takeaway. Online safety isn't a joke. That sounds like one of those cheesy 90s PSAs like, "Hey kids, you know what's radical? What is Racer that's really rabid? Online safety to the max." And then it's just my Racer OC, but like with giant sunglasses and a neon tank top and fishnet sleeves, rollerblades. Oh, speaking of the 90s and 80s when every Sunday morning cartoon was just an animated ad shilling you toys, here's one of him talking about Takis, and like, he's trying to be creepy and like win over the child's trust, but like, first off, no one gives this much of a shit about chips. Like if someone in a creepy white van pulled up to me and was like, "Hey kid, you want some combos? I love combos, pizza flavored, pretzel flavored, mashed up flavored. I love combos, get in my van, you chat combos." Like, not even eat, just chat combos. Like, I would genuinely, well, first off, I wouldn't know what the fuck to say of that in any context, but like, that's not what anyone in the fucking world talks about, unless maybe the people who make the snack themselves. Like, I'll talk to my friends about snacks sometimes, but like, if someone on the street walked up to me and wanted to be my friend, the only thing they were talking about was combos, like not even a non-creepy sense, I would still be bored as hell. And the thing is, where you and I would absolutely think, wow, this guy is fucking boring and creepy. Kids are fucking stupid. Like when I was a kid, we had a game called Sparks, and you would ram your bikes into each other's back tires, and you'd have a stick, and you try to stick it into the spokes, and the last person on their bike won. Now, do you think kids like that are gonna understand what's creepy or not? No! Which is why this guy is an actual problem. Kids don't know any better because they don't have the life experience or knowledge to know. This guy who's acting friendly isn't really friendly and just wants to hurt them. However, SmartSchoolBoy9 accidentally, or maybe intentionally, his mind is enigma, doxed himself because he would post pictures of his local surroundings. And when the entire internet is turned against you for being disgusting and creepy, you're gonna get doxed. People used the several outside photos and videos he posted to find out the general area he lived in, which also led to his alleged house. Now, the whole situation with the house is an entire mess. I'm not even able to untangle. Some say it's 100% his house, others say it's some poor dude, oh sorry, it's England, some poor chap's house is that bloke, and that people got the house wrong. I myself am unsure if it's his house, and honestly I don't really care because it doesn't affect me. Like, I don't live in the UK, he's not going to swim across the Atlantic to come get me, you know, it's just not on my radar for things to talk about. I do, however, want to talk about the idea that people are vandalizing houses that they believe are his. Now, obviously, don't go around vandalizing anyone's house. Don't try and visit any of the addresses that people claim are his. It's only going to be a show. Now, with that disclaimer said, people are vandalizing what is believed to be his house, throwing bricks through the windows to the point he has allegedly boarded up his windows. People also claim that he moved out of his address and that these are just some people smashing windows of an abandoned house or a house owned by the landlord or whatever. Frankly, it's a mess. Like, imagine you're scrolling through TikTok or YouTube and you're watching a video of like SmartSchoolBoy9 and you find a live stream, it's like, "We found SmartSchoolBoy9's house!" And then you hear like 6 or 7 people outside screaming. And then like you look outside your window and like, "Alright, Shrimp Squad, it's me, Killer Shrimpy, and we're here outside SSB9's actual house!" And then they start pelting your French bay windows with cinder blocks. That almost sounds like an episode of The Black Mirror. Which is also British. I'm trying to recall if I know any British punk bands. It's like, I feel like I should, but I just don't really know a lot. Like, there's the obvious of Sex Pistols, but I never really got into them, and also they all turn out to be awful people. The Exploited are Scottish, which also amazing band, by the way. But the only British punk band I can think of is The Clash. Anyways, speaking of historical facts, let's delve into the history of SmartSchoolBoy9, because people found out a lot about his past. I also like how I said call him David to avoid saying SmartSchoolBoy9 so much, but I think I've said SmartSchoolBoy9 more than David in this entire video. Oh, and there's also this video of some dude's hand holding open a door talking to somebody, and clearly the owner doesn't want to be seen, and we have no way of knowing if this is actually SmartSchoolBoy9 or just some random poor person, and I would fucking hate to have a brick through my window, so I'm not going to show the clip, which also I'm like 90% sure is against terms of service to show doxing information anyways. Also, there's this photo of him circulating around, and I'm not sure how it was obtained, or if it's just edited, and it's what people believe he looks like without the makeup and the Baron von Underbite-ass teeth in. But this has been going around, so it's worth mentioning. So after some further digging, it appears to be an edit of this photo, which is his most normal looking photo, like the one with the least amount of makeup. So it seems people just edited it to remove the makeup and more of the glasses for an even more crisp photo of what he could look like. Which also, like, putting aside that he's using the iPotato 6 to take all of his photos, he looks so not amused. Like that's how I look at my food in the microwave at 3 a.m. Anyways, on to his past, and wait a second, who's that Pokemon? It's Salad Fingers! Because that's right, David Firth, the creator of Salad Fingers, is now dragged into this story. More on that in a second. Because first, here's a news article in which he talks about, you fucking guessed it, school uniforms. And it's one of those things like hindsight 2020, because even all these years ago, he's out here talking about how adults should be able to wear school uniforms. It's like one of those old Scooby-Doo cartoons, and like they finally take the makeup off him, and they're like, gasp, old man David! And then Velma's like, ah, see, it all makes sense. As you see, he's been making comments about wearing school uniforms since his old newspapers. And then Shaggy's like, zoink, Scoops, I think this guy's our creepiest sketch yet. Now let's make like eggs and get fried. Anyways, back in the 90s, he was on a very famous TV show. Sorry if these references are beating a dead horse, man. But here's an encounter from somebody who has allegedly had a run-in with him back in the 90s. Mind you, this was the 90s. I think this guy was a douchey old man back then too. So he says some things I'm not gonna say, and it's just, I don't agree with him saying these words. But much like to reading To Kill a Mockingbird, I'm just gonna skip over those words, because it's still worth mentioning that this is an alleged encounter from the 90s, showing that he's been doing this for a while.
Anyone who's been in the Northbridge, Doncaster, Tesco's on a weekday evening regularly will know what I'm talking about. First, many months ago, I thought I was just released into the community care weirdo with a severe skin complaint. However, last week, whilst walking on the town centre line, I saw it without charcoal and blusher combination face. I'm not saying that next word. Permed ginger hair, embarrassingly small, half-mast circulation stopping, schoolboy's uniform, and ridiculously high goods platform shoes. I'm sure SmartSchoolBoy9 is out there fuming that this man referred to him not as stylish, high-heeled mini boots. It was stored without makeup outside the Christchurch gents toilet for an hour on end. I saw police twice asking it to move without arresting it, and it continued to freak in the toilets. A couple of weeks ago, me and the missus...
This is like I know I'm giving him like a character of like, oh, he's like this grumpy old man, but him saying like me and the missus, like that's not doing him any favors for this character I'm portraying him as. Anyway, where was I?
Me and the missus were going through the next checkout from this freak. As usual, most of the staff were taking their breaks early to see the show. Security guards falling apart with laughter, and we had the elderly female cashier ask it whilst blatantly struggling to keep a straight face, "Do you have a club card?" It replied very seriously, "Of course not, I'm only 13. I just found out from other Tesco employees that it gives the same reply to that question every time. This guy's about 30 years old, over 6 feet tall.
It just kind of gets really ranty, and yeah, he says more stuff that I don't know what half of it means. I've heard half of it means gross stuff. I'm just gonna stop there. You get the gist. This sounds extremely similar to him in his mannerisms, all the things like the high-heeled mini boots. It sounds like it would be a dead ringer for SchoolBoy9 himself. I almost call him David there, but I realized how confusing it would be because we're now introducing David Firth, creative Salad Fingers, into the equation. Someone reached out to David Firth on Instagram, back where it all started. And you'll be thinking, why would they do that? Well, David Firth and David Alter, which is the current assumed last name of, well, one of many, are both from Doncaster. Yes, that is literally it. That's why people are bothering this poor man, because they're from the same town. That's like asking, like, the Beastie Boys, like, hey, what do you guys know about Al Capone? It's like, just because they're both from New York doesn't mean they're gonna know anything about each other. Or in a weird twist universe, asking Al Capone about the Beastie Boys. I feel like he would get down to the Beastie Boys. Like, well, he's like running his moonshine. He's like, No! Sleep! Till Brooklyn! So people reached out to David Firth, and he talked about how there was someone similar to SmartSchoolBoy9 who was a local creep and would dress up like that decades ago, and when shown a picture of him would go on to say that it was him, and that, you know, he does his makeup better now. And I just want to say, with complete sincerity, do not reach out and bother David Firth about SmartSchoolBoy9. Like, do not bother anybody potentially involved with this. But he literally just walked by the guy 20-something years ago and never even talked to the guy. David Firth would go on Twitter and say, "Please stop asking me about SmartSchoolBoy9. I replied to a DM a few weeks ago asking if I remember this guy who would go on and walk around Doncaster dressed as schoolboy with weird makeup on. Yes, I walked past him in the town center 20-25 years ago. I walked past him, that's all. Like, please leave the man alone. I know everyone wants to be internet detective, but don't go around bothering people who have and want nothing to do with SmartSchoolBoy9. It was just someone from the same town who knew about the local weirdo and has nothing to do with him, so please leave the poor guy alone. Because if he has to go to Twitter and ask people to stop asking about SmartSchoolBoy9, it's clearly bothering him. And also, I love Firth's work. He's an amazing animator, and I look up to him and he helped inspire me personally to animate, so I say it with complete sincerity, just please leave the dude alone. Also, speaking of Newgrounds animators that inspire me, Max G made this GIF that I thought was hilarious. I just wanted to show you guys. And you know, it's of SmartSchoolBoy9, so I get to cram it in here. So, yeah, here you go. And there's also been a lot of people online going around like DMing and asking people who live in the Doncaster area about SmartSchoolBoy9. It's just like, just please leave these people alone. Like, if I had to deal with like 50 to 100 people flooding my DMs asking me about my local weirdo, who, by the way, a vast majority of the people probably don't know anything about him, and you're probably just bothering the poor people. So it's just, overall, leave everybody mentioned in this video alone. Leave everybody even remotely adjacent to this guy, even the same town, alone. Another thing worth mentioning is there are several accounts from people claiming to be from the Doncaster area saying they remember SmartSchoolBoy9, and that if you looked at him, he'd make that noise and like blow a raspberry at you, and that he's been dressing like this for decades. We don't know the validity of this because it's the internet, and this is a very popular thing right now. Everyone and their mom is talking about it, so it could be real. Some of these could be real. Some of them could just be people BSing and being like, "Oh, I totally knew about SmartSchoolBoy9," and they go through the Reddit and, you know, brush up on the information and watch a couple documentaries, and then they just like write out a paragraph like, "Oh, I remember him from the area," because there's not a lot of, you know, ways to check this. And it's like one of the rules of the internet is, don't believe everything you hear on the internet. Take it all with a grain of salt. Could be true, could be not. Doesn't really add much other than just like, it seems like there's a vast majority of people saying that he's been doing this for a while and that he's a big creep. So, you know. Now, there's also his, quote, music, which, like, holy f***ing hell. Let's just listen to it. It's like that meme where it's like, hey, pass me the aux. And it's like, alright, but you better not play anything weird. And then the final panel, just everybody looking at you disgusted. Alright, gang, we're making it out of the smart schoolyard with this one. But, like, seriously, him whispering up into the mic is disgusting. Like, the whole track skeeves me out. He doesn't have a future in the music industry, that's for sure. And he even tries to do some kind of harmony at the end, but it just sounds like 3 deaf mice screaming in agony. Also, by the way, according to Nick Crowley, which is the first video and also the video that popularized this case, and provided a lot of the information for SmartSchoolBoy9, he's 59, which places him around being born in 1965, meaning he would have graduated around 1983, which is interesting when you consider just how out of touch he is. Like, obviously we discussed how socially odd he is, but a lot of the things he discusses just seem to be older in style, and overall, that makes sense, as when he was actually in school, it was decades ago, and when he was the age he pretends to be, it would have been the mid-1970s. So things were a lot more different. Obviously, I wouldn't know as I wasn't alive, but it would certainly explain the oddity on how dated everything is, as he fixates on too, which then is weird because he blends it all with modern technology. Now, we discussed his past, the internet's reaction to him, and a brief overview of the story, but we haven't gotten into his reaction. Ultimately, he nuked everything and deleted all of his accounts, but before he actually responded to people. His response, you ask? Uno reverse. That's right. He literally just called everyone either a scammer or they were the predators and he was actually a schoolboy. He also made this post which talks about how he's like just really tall for his age. Like, f me, that's just like the I'm big bone guy thing Cartman says on South Park. Like, dude, you're obviously a middle-aged man. You're not a 5th grader that's really tall. Like, what the f? You failed the speech check. Vilified by the whole world. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about this whole situation, but so many people are just taking it out of hand. And so many people are just trying to profit off it. And I don't mean the people who make videos on it because it's a hot topic. I respect the hustle. I mean, hell, I'm out here talking about it and I wouldn't be if I didn't get as popular as it did because, you know, I just want to know about it. But when you're bothering real people or just making bullshit for clout, that's just f***ed up. Like, I'm all for people talking about this guy because it helps spread the idea that this guy is f***ed and is creepy. And kids genuinely need to be safe online. And realistically, if he's been doing this for decades and trying to like reach out with kids, this is the most that's ever been done to stop him and even got him offline because of it. And now everyone knows he's a creep and is more aware. But then you get shit that doesn't even help with that. Like, people who are just trying to capitalize and sensationalize off it, resulting in a false information that only sets everything back. Like, I would rather a dozen videos just talking about it, not even saying anything new, than one video that goes out of its way and makes up false information, intentionally false, for clout that just spreads bullshit and makes everything worse. Now, the most common thing is lying and saying, oh, I know SmartSchoolBoy9, he's my neighbor, which ultimately goes nowhere anyways. But when you have multiple people shamelessly milking the situation, like, say, making a fake interview with him, and like, call this guy Farmer John the way he's milking SmartSchoolBoy9. Holy imagine if like Art is the guy, he's like literally milking SmartSchool9 like on the stool. And like in the interview, he claims after doing a bunch of SmartSchoolBoy9 videos on TikTok that all went out to get blowing up and get a bunch of views for him, that he's gonna go and interview SmartSchoolBoy9, which like, obviously, you know, they're your most viewed videos, you're gonna pull from that well till it's dry. But anyways, he goes out to talk and he says like he's talked with SmartSchoolBoy9's relative, like cousin or something, and he can't even get the bullshit straight because in the interview he opens up saying it's SmartSchoolBoy9's cousin that he's talking to, but then they play it forward like he is SmartSchoolBoy9, which like also, he's not fucking SmartSchoolBoy9, he's fucking Intelligent Academy Young and 8, like this is not him by any merit. Like, this is your mom saying you have SmartSchoolBoy9 at home. But then, they just nothing burger the rest of the video. Like, they don't even, like, roll with, like, confirming widely known theories. Like, they just say nothing. Like, they can't even say his age, which most people believe to be 59, and is the widely accepted number, which it could be wrong, you know. And also, I know his face is blurred because it's obviously not SmartSchoolBoy9. I know. It's like the crushing reality, breaking your entire worldview that this guy isn't really SmartSchoolBoy9. But don't worry, the Santa Claus at the mall is totally real. Imagine like this year you go to the mall and it's like you sit at SmartSchoolBoy9's lap and you tell him what you want for Christmas. I could rant for hours about the decline of media and how the fact is all you have to do is milk something for views without really saying anything and just lying to people for sensationalized views. But the bottom line is just don't make up bullshit lies about this, and please try to have some pride and integrity and don't just shamelessly drop a fake interview. It's like, he also made like the crappiest interview. Like, I get the hustle, I can't blame him for making dozens of other SmartSchoolBoy9 videos. Like, if you gotta get views to get some cash, do that. Like, my only complaints here are, one, making a whole fake interview on a Predator's really a bold choice, and two, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed it's not entertaining enough. Like, obviously no one's gonna believe this is real, but like, at least make it entertaining here. Like here, this is how you do it. Hi guys, I'm here with SmartSchoolBoy9, Jesus Christ, the Burger King, Charlie from Smiling Friends, and the 2007 Heavyweight WWE World Champion, the Great Khali. So, how is everyone today? Well, I just want to say, shut up. Yeah, dude, shut up. You're f***ing sick, man. Like, just f*** you. Not cool, dude. Not cool.
Like, dude, I'm just saying, like, you don't have to go offensive, but, like, you're pretty f***ed up, SmartSchoolBoy9, and, like, seriously, get some help. Like, dude, you're 60, you can't seriously want to do, like, a schoolboy for, like, what, the last 20 years of your life? Like, you're old, dude. Get into, like, hang gliding and wood burning or something else, man. Like, enjoy your golden years. Go on vacation, learn a new language. Just stop this, man. Just stop talking with kids. This man's f***ing weird.
Anyways, this has been a mere glimpse into the disturbing rabbit hole of SmartSchoolBoy9. Haha, gross. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I really look forward to working on more videos like this in the future. Leave a comment if you have any feedback or anything you want to say. Please also leave a like and subscribe, and thank you all for watching. Bye!